So here I'm on my Azure AD portal. Let me register a new app. I'm gonna name it Postman. I'm gonna choose the first option, account in this organizational directory only. The third option, we can leave that as blank because we are not having an actual user, you know, interacting with this application. We have a Postman tool which we will be using to interact with the Graph API. So for now we can leave that as blank. Let's hit register. Okay, the app has been registered. You can see that the display name, application ID and other attributes. Now coming to the Postman, I'm gonna use a post method to get a token, and for that I'm gonna need to have certain keys under body of this post request. Before I do that and define all this, I'm gonna give certain permissions to the application. So you can see that if I go to app API permissions, uh, we have default permissions attached to the application. This is user.read and the application type is delegated, and we don't want that because we are not we haven't have an actual application under which we have embedded an Azure AD account or a service account which we can use to interact with the resources. We just have a Postman tool. So I'm going to delete that and give a new permission. Now you can see that we have several options. I will choose Microsoft Graph API. Again, two permissions, delegated and application. Delegated when we have, let's say, a developer can embed an AD account which have the permission to interact with the resources. This is not our case, so I'm gonna move to application permissions, and let's say that I want this application to be able to view all my users in Azure AD. So I'm gonna give those or supply those permissions. So under directory, let's say directory read all, and the second permission should be users and users read all. Okay, add permissions. Now to avoid the admin consent prompt, I'm gonna give this and grant the admin consent confirmation so that it doesn't get prompted for the consent. Okay, alright, permissions have been granted. Now one more thing that we have under this Postman, or you can say uh, these keys in the body of this request, is a client ID, client secret and a scope. So first of all, let me move to this request type. So the post request URL I've already I have made up, and sorry, post request. So login.microsoft.online.com, this is the Azure AD authentication URL. Next is my tenant ID, which is also visible in the application. Here it is. Now I'm using OAuth version 2.0 to get a token. This token we will use in the subsequent GET request to be for authorization. Okay. Now let's client ID. Let's check the client ID in the app. So client ID is the application ID. I'm gonna copy it and paste it here. Next is client secret. We haven't defined any client secret, so let us add a secret here. I'm gonna name it secret. The expiry, let's say 3 months. This is just a testing platform. So yeah, important thing is this secret that I have defined, I need to copy this at the time of creation, because once I move to other tabs or refresh the page, this value will be gone. So if I hit a refresh, this application ID is hidden. Okay, now let's send this post request to get a token. So we have a token now. Okay, this is the token value. Okay, now let's create another get request, and the URL is, we need to ask the graph URL to give us those information. So this is the Graph API URL. Under headers, we need to provide another key called authorization, and under authorization I will give the token value. So we have this token value under post request. I'll just simply copy it and paste this under the get request. So bearer space token. Okay, let's see if this works. Invalid version. What's wrong? Okay, so got some error. Right, okay, so I've used the incorrect get URL. Let me fix it. Alright, so the get request URL is this. So this is easier to read. This is the Graph API URL. I'm using version 1.0 to get the list of users. Okay, let me send. Alright, as you can see, I'm getting all the users that I have in my Azure Active Directory. Okay, so this is how we can use Postman. So here are my users in Azure AD, and I have all that information here using the Graph API. So hope you have enjoyed the content. If you like it, please do like and subscribe to my channel. And if you want more videos regarding these application enterprise registration or applications, application proxy services and so forth, put down the comment and I'll make some videos on that. Thank you.